Dear France, thank you. Without the great nation of France, the United States of America would simply not exist. In a meeting that would change the world, two leaders, one American and one French, have come together. And it happened just a day's carriage ride north of New York City, at a property now known as Odell House. The year is 1781, and the young country of America is waging its war for freedom. But it's been 6 long years, with many losses and few victories for the Americans. The situation is desperate. The soldiers are hungry and tired, their uniforms ragged, and many of them are barefoot. General George Washington fears that the war will soon be lost, writing, "We are at the end of our tether. Now or never, our deliverance must come." That deliverance is about to arrive. A year earlier, French King Louis XVI had sent 5,000 soldiers, material of war, and money, a lot of it, to the American shores at Newport, Rhode Island. To lead this army, he sent one of France's finest generals, Marshal Jean-Baptiste de Nation du Vimer, Comte de Rochambeau. At age 56, Rochambeau has more battle experience than Washington, especially in fighting the British, but has agreed to defer to the wishes of his American counterpart. In July of 1781, Rochambeau marches his army 220 miles from Newport to what is now the town of Greenburgh in New York. There, the French and American armies join forces for the first time at the Phillipsburg encampment. Washington's headquarters in a local house has since vanished, but Rochambeau's headquarters, now known as Odell House, still stands. It is here that the two generals will confer, evaluate, and ultimately make a fateful decision. Washington believes that if the Allied armies can strike a devastating blow to the British occupying New York City, they could end the war. Rochambeau, however, knows that the better plan is to attack the British in Yorktown, Virginia, on the Chesapeake Bay, where the British General Cornwallis and his troops are dug in. An expert in siege warfare, Rochambeau believes he can make quick work of the British there. And the French Navy, with 28 ships of the line under command of Admiral de Grasse, could assist the attack by blocking a British escape by sea. Washington and Rochambeau scout British defenses and troop strength near New York City, but it only confirms what Rochambeau knew all along. The British Army is too strong, their numbers too great. An attack there would mean certain defeat, but Washington still holds out hope. Then, on August 14, 1781, a letter arrives at Rochambeau's headquarters. It is from Admiral de Grasse, stating that his navy will not come to New York, but will sail to the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. With this information, Washington abandons New York City as his target. It is decided. Rochambeau's plan is the strongest gambit for victory. So the French and the American armies break camp and begin their 400-mile march south. When Admiral de Grasse and his fleet arrive at the Chesapeake, they're met by the British fleet, but de Grasse and his sailors are ready. In the historic Battle of the Chesapeake that follows, France hands England its first major naval defeat since 1690. Meanwhile, on land, the Marquis de Lafayette, another of America's French heroes, keeps the British troops near Yorktown pinned down and unable to receive reinforcements. When the French and American armies arrive at Yorktown in September 1781, they quickly begin to lay siege to the British fort. Within weeks, General Cornwallis's army is decimated and he surrenders. The French and the Americans are victorious, and the war for the American independence is won. Today, the Odell House Rochambeau Headquarters is the only remaining evidence of this momentous alliance between France and America. Its first alliance that still burns brightly today. The house's restoration as a living museum will celebrate this history now and for many years to come. It will tell the story of a time when, at America's most desperate hour, France came to her aid, of an alliance that saved a nation, of how French honor won American freedom. Dear France, merci. Merci mille fois. Et vive la France!